All right, now here's another question. Are some people predestined to contract AIDS? And what about divine protection in regard to this disease? All right, now here's my answer. Just as with other diseases, some predestined AIDS as a karmic balance, especially with the early cases, before there was a general awareness of the disease. Now the only simple answer is to repeat that karma is always a teacher. As an example, I am aware of a young man who took his own life in a previous incarnation. In this life, just when he most wants to live, he will probably die of AIDS. His lesson is to learn the value of life. A man with arthritis in his hands learned that in another life he used his hands to torture prisoners. It was his job and he didn't like it, but he subconsciously continues to feel guilty. The guilt is manifesting in his hands. Today, rather than all AIDS cases being predestined, it would seem many are cause and effect. In response to your question about divine protection, if you are part of God, you are also God. Thus, you are your own protection. Everyone has free will to choose safe sex or to abstain. Someone with a karmic history of recklessness might choose AIDS to teach himself that life is precious. All right, here's another question from a reader. In a seminar, you said that our glands are karmically controlled and a way to trigger balance and learning. Would you please explain that a little more? And here's my answer. Our glands control what we are. Since everything is karmic, our glandular balance is also karmic. In your body, your glands maintain orderly relations between various systems of the body. Metaphysics teaches that glands are subject to orders from your own higher self, dictating what you need to karmically learn. A couple of examples from the Edgar Cayce readings demonstrate this. Cayce did a reading on a girl who had a shapeless and overweight body due to an imbalance in her endocrine system. In seeking the cause in trance, Cayce saw her as an athlete in ancient Rome who had ridiculed those who were less agile and graceful than herself. To learn, she had become that which she scorned. In another reading, a man sought out Cayce because a lifelong digestive weakness forced him to maintain a strict diet in order to assimilate food. Cayce perceived two lives of gluttony, one in the court of Louis XIII and the other in Persia. Now the two lifetimes of excess caused the man to self-create a glandular balance blocking the tendency to overeat. The latest word on glandular imbalance comes from John Money, professor of medical psychology at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. Now he has treated 30 men with pituitary gland malfunctions who were unable to fall in love. Although they physically enjoyed making love, they were incapable of feeling love. According to Money, the romance messages got blocked. Just as a colorblind person can't perceive certain shades, they've never felt the fire of erotic passion. All right, now, here are a couple of theoretical past life karmic explanations. Someone who claimed great love he didn't feel in order to seduce someone who really loved him. Or someone who selfishly used another's love only as a means of attaining self-gain. Okay, here's another question from a reader. You say that what is, but you also say that we have a choice of our karmic path. Which is it? If we have karma that we are destined to fulfill, then we don't really have a choice, do we? By resisting, we can, in fact, cause greater pain, can we not? And here's my response. What is reality. When I say don't resist what is, I am saying don't resist unalterable circumstances. Don't resist what you can do nothing about. I don't see how that relates to the next part of your question. Yes, you do choose your karmic path. the path that will best allow you to experience what you need to learn. Yes, there may be some predestined events that you will encounter in your life, but again, wisdom erases karma. And, as Edgar Cayce said, the law of grace supersedes the law of karma. If you give love and mercy, you'll receive the same in return. You can mitigate the predestined event by how you live your life from the time that you're born up until the time of the event. The more positive, loving, and compassionate you are, the more you may modify circumstances. And the more self-actualized you are, the less meaning any negative event will have. All right, here's another question from a reader. I have an awful time accepting the idea of life being predestined as palmistry and astrology seem to substantiate. It's not that I don't believe destiny is what is, but I keep coming back to the idea of why bother if my future is already destined to be? And here's my response. Many general aspects of our lives appear to be predestined, but our reactions to life are not. You've reincarnated on Schoolhouse Earth for another opportunity to react to situations of your own creation as a self-test. Here you are as God wanting to grow, so you create games that allow you to learn things. Knowledge equals growth. React harmoniously to the lesson, and you've probably learned. React disharmoniously, and you'll get another chance to learn the same lesson, probably sooner than you'd like. So maybe life is just about reactions. Your best mirror for learning to react will usually be your relationships, which reflect limitless possibilities for growth, from petty issues to major insecurities. You may be destined to be with Willie or Wendy, but your potential for happiness is up to you. In the end, you will probably find that strong relationships are based upon love, compassion, acceptance, and freedom. The fewer expectations, the better. Weak relationships usually mirror someone wanting the other person to be the way they want them to be. And now another question. Your writings about reincarnation and karma make me crazy. The idea that I might come back when my ex-husband is enough to make me want to kill myself. But that would just hurry the process, wouldn't it? Tell me, please, is there a way around it? And here's my response. No one will force you to come back with anyone. However, when you're on the other side in spirit, you might see things differently. You may decide the fastest way to learn is another round with your ex. In this life, you were probably what I call karmic companions, two people destined to form a union to confront unlearned lessons from past lives. In other words, conflict was destined as a self-test to see if you would learn to let go of fear and respond unconditionally. Now, this kind of relationship can be karmically structured in one of three ways. Locked in, the players must remain together to resolve their conflicts. Open-ended, the outcome of the relationship depends upon the growth of the partners. In other words, if love matures, they will remain together. But if stagnation destroys the potential for spiritual growth, the parting is assured. And destined to end, for the growth opportunity the parting provides. So what this comes down to, can you and your ex let go with love, without excessive hostility and anger and desire for revenge? If not, a future mating is likely. Chapter 4. The Point of Power is Now. This is from an editorial in the magazine, September 1994. A hand-lettered Seth quote taped above my computer says, "The point of power is now." It's something I need to be regularly reminded of. In other words, the past and future are not factors in controlling your destiny because it's right now. Reality is manifesting at a point where your beliefs intersect with the physical world. Change a belief now and you automatically alter the past by viewing it differently. The changed belief also alters the future by creating new potentials. Beliefs have influenced the choices, actions, that have shaped your life. Reality is defined by actions, and until you act, life is theoretical. With each act, you hope to improve your chances of getting what you want. Knowing that the point of power is now, you can use this awareness to alter beliefs that aren't working for you, and then act in accordance with your goals. If goals sounds too structured, think in terms of desired outcomes in the key life areas. 1 would be obtaining your objectives. 2, fulfilling the responsibilities you've accepted. 3, obtaining the responses you desire from others. And 4, finding personal peace. Hypnosis or meditation are effective ways to reprogram a negative belief with a positive belief. In an altered state, chant a mantra that summarizes your goal. Visualize your desire as an accomplished fact. Give yourself positive suggestions worded as if the goal were already attained. Examples: I always finish what I start. I am self-reliant, self-confident, and filled with independence and determination. I openly discuss my needs. Okay, I'll sign off with another favorite quote. They asked Buddha what time it was, and he said, "Now." Alright, now here's a Satori seminar belief talk, followed by a process. Change results from the acceptance of new beliefs. Psychologists, psychiatrists, hypnotists, human potential trainers, and brain-mind researchers agree that beliefs are the basis of individual reality. Beliefs generate your thoughts and emotions, which create your experiences. If you aren't happy with your current life and want to change it, you must change beliefs, which are not hidden deep in your subconscious mind. They're part of your conscious awareness, but you view them as attitudes, assumptions, or facts. Your reality is the manifestation of your core beliefs, which includes your relationships or lack of relationships, and the fact that they are harmonious or disharmonious, your level of success, even the state of your physical body. Once, while conducting this seminar, an overweight woman stood up and she put her hands on her hips and said, "Richard, I'm overweight because I overeat, not because of my beliefs." "But it's your beliefs that are causing you to overeat," I responded. "And if you want to lose weight, you'll have to change your beliefs. Hundreds of companies offer weight loss tapes, hypnosis, sleep programming, subliminals, which are quite effective. And they're all structured to help you do just one thing: program new beliefs into your subconscious mind." I asked the woman what went through her mind when she observed a woman with a beautiful body. Without hesitation, she replied, "All beauty and no brains." "Really?" I said. "It seems to be true," she said. "You will always live up to your self-image," I said. "If your core belief is that having a beautiful body means that you'll be brainless, you subconsciously never allow it to happen." Now the overweight woman looked at me quizzically and sat down. In an attempt to assist all the participants to become more aware of their unexamined beliefs, I asked them to finish a sentence in their mind. And I want you to do this too. Without thinking about it, just finish this sentence. "I think wealthy people are..." In the seminars, over half the participants will come up with responses such as unhappy, dishonest, snobs, and thieves. Such negative responses expose their deep-seated beliefs about wealth. You also can't become what you resent, I explain. If someone driving a Rolls-Royce pulls up beside you at a stoplight and you look over and respond negatively to the symbol of wealth, your resentment is blocking your own quest for riches. You will always live up to your self-image, even if it's working against you. Back to how you finish the sentence. If you have a core belief that becoming wealthy means being dishonest or snobbish, you'll never allow yourself to attain wealth. Even if you should attain it in a windfall, such as a lottery, you will not allow yourself to retain it. Statistics support this by showing that most lottery winners quickly go through their winnings and find themselves back where they started. Now maybe you finish the sentence with a word like lucky or blessed. But that doesn't work much better, because since you're not wealthy, you are not lucky or blessed. Now here are some additional sentences to finish that will provide you with a quick general belief check. I want you to mentally finish the following incomplete sentences. Listen and respond instantly the way you really feel without considering how you should feel. Note if your response is positive or negative, and mentally flag those that generate an emotional response. All right, here we go. First sentence. My diet is... Next sentence. My current weight is... Daily exercise is... People with beautiful bodies are... When it comes to dietary self-discipline, eating only healthy foods is... People are over the hill at the age of... The older you get, the... Being older means... Marriage is... Having an affair is... Money is... My potential for success is... When it comes to addictions, When it comes to dependencies, My creative ability is... When it comes to ambition, my ego is... Happiness is... You have the idea. Think about how you finished some of the sentences and consider those that are keeping you from being all you can be. Your subconscious mind is a great memory bank containing every thought, word, and deed. It has a record of what the doctor delivering you said at your birth, what you did at your 4th birthday party, what you thought after your first kiss, and what you had for lunch on September 23rd, 1982. Your subconscious functions as a computer, but like a computer, it lacks the ability to reason. It functions only as a result of programming. Thoughts, words, and deeds are the belief software that will generate your thoughts and emotions, in turn, creating your future experiences. If your subconscious were to receive no new programming, it would continue to operate on past input. This, of course, cannot happen, for you are constantly feeding new programming or data into your subconscious mind. Every thought and deed programs you, but your thoughts must precede your deeds, so the real power of programming is in your thoughts. If your belief software is self-limiting, your experiences will be self-limiting. If it is more negative than positive, you are programming a negative future reality. In the 1950s and 1960s, medical doctors such as Maxwell Maltz began to explore the power of the mind. Many universities conducted experiments, and brain-mind researchers began to report on the power and limitations of the subconscious. They discovered three critically important truths that are the basis of all self-change programming. 1. Like a machine, your subconscious is incapable of caring whether you get what you want out of life or not. It impersonally works, whether for or against your conscious desires, as the result of programming. 2. The subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between fantasy and reality, or a real experience and a vividly imagined experience. This means it can be tricked with visualizations and properly phrased suggestions. 3. Although the subconscious mind doesn't reason, it does seek to logically correct itself, much like an error-checking computer program. Once it has accepted new internal programming, it begins to generate circumstances that will align your outer life with your inner beliefs. So, if you properly program your desires, your subconscious mind automatically begins to bring them into reality. After deciding what you want out of life, the next most important step for self-change is to begin monitoring your thoughts. Now, this is a lot easier than it sounds. The idea is to simply catch yourself whenever you think negative about anyone or anything. When you recognize mental negativity, say to yourself, positive opportunity. Then, replace the negative thought with a positive version of the same thought. This is a powerful technique to begin to reprogram the beliefs that are not serving you. And it also allows this reprogramming without repression. All right, here's another question from a reader. In one of your books you say, belief doesn't work. Buddha said, do not believe, for if you believe, you will never know. If you really want to know, don't believe. Later, under the law of manifestation, you refer to belief with a different definition. Everything manifest begins as a thought, an idea. Ideas and experiences create beliefs, which in turn create your reality. All right, now the Virgo part of me is distressed by the lack of clarity on this point. Okay, now here's my answer. I am referring to belief in two contexts. First, I urge you not to blindly accept concepts, but to experience them. As an example, many people believe in reincarnation. They think it's reality. They may even be willing to stake their lives on it. But it's a belief and they don't really know. Myself, I've researched and experienced reincarnation through hundreds of regressions and verifications and cross-check experiments until I'm no longer coming from a position of belief. I'm coming from experience. I know reincarnation and karma are the basis of reality. Now in the second context, I'm referring to beliefs as programming, as the little process that we just completed clearly demonstrates. Okay, another question. How can you say truth is not something you find, it's something you create? Truth is. There is but one truth. All the teachings, self-improvements, awareness, they just lead us closer to that inner reality. And here's my response. Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh said, start clean, a clean slate with no belief, with no dogma, with no faith. Then there is a possibility that you may find what is the truth. And the truth is neither Hindu, nor Mohammedan, nor Christian. And the truth is not in the Bible, nor in the Quran, nor in the Gita. The truth that you will find, you will be surprised, is nowhere written, cannot be written. It is impossible to write it. It has never been uttered by anybody, and it is not going to be uttered by anybody. All right, now that's the end of the Rajneesh quote. You are confusing facts and truth. A fact is something that has been objectively verified. But my truth is not necessarily your truth. Zen teaches that truth cannot be taught. It is something that is discovered within your own soul. Buddha and the other mystics taught that truth arises from the deepest source of your being. Okay, another question. I've read your books, as well as those of many others, and try as I will, I still have doubts about metaphysical teachings. What do you suggest to help me get past this? And now my response. Continue to doubt, because there is much more power in doubt than in belief. When you believe, you stop seeking the truth, and truth is what works, and you'll find out what works through direct experience. Then, it is no longer a belief, but a reality. Okay, now here's an energy editorial from the magazine from April 1988. Those close to me know I'm big on the subject of energy. I'm always asking myself and others, do you really have the energy for it? Referring to a new project or direction. I know that if you do have the energy and are clear in your intent, half the battle is already won. And if you don't have the energy, there is little chance of a winning effort. You'll soon lose interest and put the project behind you, usually losing self-esteem in the process. A couple of years ago, Tara said to me, I think it's time you wrote another book for Simon & Schuster pocketbooks. With their distribution, it would introduce hundreds of thousands of new people to your work. Now I responded, I just don't think that I have the energy to make a mass market title successful. My first books for Pocket are filled with the enthusiasm of self-discovery, and that's what made them successful. And you can't fake that. A reader always perceives the author's sincerity and energy. But I thought a lot about Tara's words. I then took some of my own advice. In my seminars, I've told thousands of people, don't assume that there's only one way to attain your goals. Now, after 18 years of investigating past lives, I'm very objective. It's difficult to get excited about even the most interesting cases. But I asked myself, what part of your metaphysical investigation is most exciting? And the answer was easy, and the same as when I'd written You Were Born Again to Be Together 14 years ago. The idea of romantic love spanning lifetimes. So then I asked, well, what would really challenge you in regard to your work? To stretch my abilities as a writer was another easy answer. And that did it. I'd found my energy. I had gathered some wonderful documented case histories over the years, and I decided to write about them in a totally different way, in third person. This was a new and different challenge, and it generated very high energy. Could I communicate the case histories in a short story format, like a docudrama on television, that would read quickly? Could I incorporate the metaphysical philosophy without slowing it down? And could I make it work? When my editor read my first case history, she cried. And I knew then that the answer was yes, yes, and yes. I had the energy, and I knew pocketbooks would go for it. Predestined Love sold extremely well for 6 years and will be re-released in the future. Okay, another question. What is your feeling about goals? My response. I'm fine with goals, although I'm personally more inclined to target a strong general direction than a specific goal, because I don't want to limit the power of the universe. People often commit to goals before committing to a process which will move them toward the goals. Before concentrating on your goals, concentrate on a process that is natural for you and one that you will enjoy. Using myself as an example, my primary process is writing about metaphysics, but the words can be used in many different ways: articles, books, seminars, tapes, etc. There is no one way to describe the job I experience in this. I could sit in front of my computer 18 hours at a time if Tara and the kids didn't come and get me. It's something that is totally natural for me, substantiated by astrologers who tell me this dharma is in my chart. Tara's an excellent palmist, and she claims this destiny is in my hand, loud and clear. Well, what if I wanted to do something else? I asked Tara. No way, Tara replied. You're here to do what you're doing. Nothing else would have worked out as well. And here's another reader question. In a seminar you once conducted, an altered state session, about role models, I awakened surprised to find that I'd modeled my life after a high school hero. Can you repeat the premise of that process? Here's my answer. People invariably choose role models, usually while still in early high school. The choice is made with little conscious awareness about how much you imitate and mimic them. This could be someone in school, a family member, a public figure, anyone. The role model becomes your self-image. You go through life making small decisions as if they were not part of any master plan, as if all along you were responding to individual circumstances. The truth is, there is a master plan. You set it into motion when you chose your hero. The key questions in the process are: 1. Think back to your teenage years. Who was your role model? 2. How has your role model related to your life? 3. Has this worked for you? If not, has it worked against you? 4. How might your awareness of your role model affect your future? 5. Could you pick a new role model that would better serve you in the future? All right, now here's another question from a reader. How do you find the courage to do what you dream of doing when fear holds you back? I know that you say that courage is a matter of being afraid and acting anyway, but that just doesn't resolve it for me. My response: you're not alone. Most people allow fear to keep them from making growth choices, or they find security in their insecurity and never act to fulfill their dreams. In some cases, this might be a wise decision, but more often than not, by keeping one foot in the safety zone, they will never know their full potential for joy. There's no magic answer to your question. Life is a matter of choices. You'll find the courage to make it or you won't. And while you're deciding, consider this quote from Anais Nin. Life shrinks or expands according to one's courage. Okay, another question. What is the primary problem you encounter in working with people who aren't as happy and successful as they desire to be? Here's my answer. 2 things. Number 1, lack of clarity. In other words, they don't know exactly what they want. And number 2, self-deception, which manifests as limiting beliefs, resistance to what is, faulty assumptions, assumed limitations, or irrational and often selfish viewpoints. All right, another question. Why am I always attracted to the wrong kind of men? Is it my karma? Did I do something wrong in a past life that is forcing me to go through all this pain? Answer. You're picking the wrong kind of men to teach yourself not to pick the wrong kind of men. It's called learning through pain, which is the way most of us learn. The alternative is to learn through love and wisdom, but that might be too easy. Another question. I've been working with many different brands of weight loss and prosperity tapes with no success. My profession as a teacher is slowly but surely killing me, and the stress is causing high blood pressure. My psychic development has stopped. My spiritual growth has been at a standstill for several years. I'm tired of being depressed, overweight, and professionally unhappy, dissatisfied, and spiritually stagnant. Can you suggest any methods that will help? I've been to hell and back, and I'm tired of merely existing. Okay, here's my response. Your letter is typical of many I receive every week. You want a magic solution instead of confronting the real problem. Why would you remain in a profession that is causing your high blood pressure and surely killing you, using your words? Is money and security that important? And what value will it be if you're dead? Your weight problem may be directly tied into your unhappiness. And how are you going to attain any prosperity if all your energy is drained by the repressive job? I am reminded of the metaphysical man who believed that the universe would support him in attaining his desires. He sat on the edge of a cliff and called out to the universe, saying, "Support me, universe." And the universe answered, "How can I support you with your ass firmly planted upon the edge of the cliff? Once you jump, I can support you." So what about jumping? What is the worst that would happen if you simply walked away from your job tomorrow? You might starve, but I doubt it. You could always move to Spider's Breath, Montana, and cut logs. And wouldn't that be better than merely existing? Sure, you might have to lower your standard of living, but you'd probably have so much more enthusiasm for life that you would soon resolve the rest of the conflicts. In regard to the self-programming tapes, don't use several different brands on the same subject. They could easily contain conflicting suggestions due to the way the ideas are phrased. Also, tapes are powerful supportive programming, but you have to do your part. You have to be clear on your intent and willing to make changes in your life. If you're using a weight tape, you must diet. The tape will assist you to stick to a diet of healthier food. And it will work better if you first resolve the all-consuming occupational crisis that you've been experiencing. Okay, another question. You say, stop asking why questions. Now, I find that ridiculous. Being logic-oriented, I need reasons for everything. And my response: people always act emotionally. They invent logical reasons to justify their actions to themselves and others. Yet these reasons are merely rationalizations and rarely have much to do with facts. The reasons don't matter, and no one could possibly know what they are. They're buried in your viewpoint, which is the result of all your past experiences. When you ask why, you demonstrate your lack of awareness. When you explain why, you demonstrate your lack of awareness, and you give away your power, which reduces your self-esteem. You do what you do because you do it. That's why. They do what they do because that's what they do, and that's what is. You do need to distinguish between why questions intended to take away power and why questions intended to clarify. "Why didn't you call last week?" is a manipulation. "Why is it better to use no-lead gas in my car?" is to clarify. All right, another question. I'm very attracted to someone in my company, although I'm afraid of him and I don't understand why. Do you think it could be based upon a past life tie? My response: maybe, but first I'd consider some other factors. 1. If you're normally not fearful of others, and especially if you're somewhat psychic, you might be perceiving his insecurity and fear. 2. You may simply fear his rejection. 3. There may be something about him that triggers a subconscious fearful association, maybe from your childhood. 4. You're in awe of him, and he could be reflecting unintegrated admirable qualities within yourself. 5. It could relate to a past life relationship. Chapter 5. Letting Go. Now I'd like to begin this chapter with a quote by Simon Weil. Attachment is the great fabricator of illusions. Reality can be attained only by someone who is detached. The dreaded ego is nothing but the expression of fearful emotions, and the spiritual concern with the need to repress this abstract aspect of your totality is the ultimate ego trip. Instead, concern yourself with detaching from fear-based emotions. As you succeed, your ego will diminish all on its own. Now here's some examples. Example number 1. You brag to your friends about your promotion at work. Is this an expression of ego? No. It's really an expression of fear. You fear you're not important enough and the promotion validates you. Now note, the purpose of 99% of your conversation is to attain sympathy or boost your importance. Now knowing this, maybe you don't need to say it. All right, now here's another example, number 2. You tell your lover how to do something. Now when he doesn't take your advice, you get mad. Is this an expression of ego? No, fear. Your lover's independence challenged your need to be right. And note that everyone is subconsciously programmed to be right. Instead, let the other person be right and concentrate upon winning the game. In his book, Waking Up, Overcoming the Obstacles to Human Potential, Charles T. Tart says, "Some paths are powerful. Some may have been effective in the past but no longer work. And some are dangerous. Some are dangerous neuroses disguised as paths. All genuine paths require courage. Courage to buck the social tide. Courage to see yourself as you really are. Courage to take risks."